You mentioned, you alluded to your comings and goings, as it were. Sort of about the players you brought in, and Emmanuel-Thomas, it was a name that he's known, so to say.
Yeah, Jay's somebody who I've been trying to get a hold of for probably 4 or 5 years. I was managing Hyderabad Football Club in India when Jay's the awareness of Jay being available came upon my attention, and I had a conversation with him. But at the time, my owner was a Manchester United supporter as well as Hyderabad owner, and he just didn't like Arsenal players. So what can I do? So that unfortunately stopped me from working with Jay. That was 5 years ago. I've watched him closely. I've watched him over the years. He's been abroad quite a bit. People might have thought that he's gone and disappeared, you know, to Thailand or India or wherever. But he played a full season for Jamshedpur under Adi Boothroyd, and I was doing the TV work over there and watched him. I couldn't believe where Adi was playing him at times. He played him centre midfield, doing a sitting role, and I was fascinated watching it because I'm thinking, do I need a centre midfield player sitting role? Sometimes you do. He's out there. His presence is enormous. He's a character. He's got personality. All of them things he needs to bring to the party, and a fitness level at the moment that's quite fragile, I would have said. And what I mean by fragile, we've been really putting some mileage into him over the last couple of weeks, having been allowed to work with him. He's now signed his contract, and the rest's history. Hopefully he'll play, fingers crossed, some part in these 3 games during the week. There's every chance he might be on the bench on Saturday with a part to play against Oldham, but it's a little bit early to make any statements at the moment. But I'm delighted to have Jay on board. Seb Thompson's the other one, a young lad that we've got from Aston Villa. Again, Seb's been on the training ground quite a bit. So we're looking at the fitness levels. You know, they're trying to catch. It's nice to see that they're trying to catch the fitness levels of the first team, which is a good sign. You know, it's a sign that the ones who are playing are fit enough to stay in that team if they bring their best game with the football. So levels of fitness are going to be important before we actually make any risks or take any chances with these players. But at the moment, it's 2 more very able bodies in the camp.
And 2 front players as well.
2 front players. Competition for that end of the end of the pitch is absolutely vital. It means, sometimes you don't quite understand. Sometimes a player doesn't need that kind of pressure, he just gets on with it. And other times a player needs that kind of pressure, and if he's under that kind of pressure, he responds by scoring goals. So with having, you know, the likes of Sam Bellis being brought in on loan, he's putting Amari under pressure, he's putting Gold under pressure. Now they're looking at Jay, they're looking at Jack Lambert in that final third, they're looking at Seb Thompson now. So it's lovely, healthy competition, especially when you're playing 3 up there. And
going the other way, as it were, Aaron Harper-Bailey has gone back to West Brom, I think, is it?
Yeah, I'm disappointed about Aaron, but it was one of them on Tuesday night. It was purely down to a tactical change from myself. I was a little bit frustrated about the lack of hold-up play or the lack of opportunity in the final third to keep that ball in there. Hence the reason why I took off one of the centre-halves, and it could have been any one of 3. And I took Aaron off just before our time, and normally, unfortunately, you do get that feeling that's been a discipline thing, or that's been you know, something that you didn't like about the individual. It had nothing to do with that. It was purely tactical, taking a centre half of 1 of 3 that was marking 1 player and vacating that part of the pitch and taking him off and putting a striker on. So it was purely down to tactics. But Aaron's you know, he's probably had a couple of full games, and he's been involved in 2 or 3 others as well. He's had a good loan spell. I'm delighted to work with him. Great character, very honest lad. Left hand side, as you say, left hand side centre backs are sometimes few and far between, but West Bromwich Albion have their own criteria and their own problems back home, and have decided to bring him back.